Hello, welcome to Sitting With It, a space for reflection, emotional honesty, and the thoughts we often quietly carry within ourselves. Here we take time to explore the complexities of being human, identity, relationships, mental health, and the experiences that shape how we see ourselves and others. These reflections are not about quick answers or simple solutions. They're about learning to sit with the question, the emotions, and the moments of understanding that come when we slow down and really look inwards. This is Sitting With It. This season is all about being seen, and this is Blog 2, How Family Sees Us First. We don't get to choose how we are first seen. That happens before we understand anything about ourselves, before we know what we feel, before we know what matters, before we even have the language to question it. Family becomes that first mirror, and whatever it reflects back to us, we tend to believe. Not because it's always right, but because it's all we've got. I grew up in a blended family. 4 children, different ages, 2 from one marriage, 2 from another marriage, and different experiences bled into the same house, but not always the same version of it. From early on, I was seen a certain way, the golden child. My parents got married when pregnant with me, and I was born into a happier time, a honeymoon phase, mum's second marriage, and a time of security and safety and happiness. And that sounds like a compliment, and in a lot of ways it is. I was treated well, I was well looked after, I had calm moments, and I had an especially close relationship with my granddad, and that still feels solid now when I look back. And in terms of being seen, I felt safest with him. And being the golden child isn't just about being loved. It's about being seen as something and then learning how to stay with it or stay within it. You become the one who should do well, the one with potential, the one who doesn't really have an excuse not to succeed. And that sits with you even when you don't fully understand it. I was always told you're capable if you just apply yourself. And it sounds like belief, but it never quite felt like that for me. It felt like something was missing in me, like there was a version of me that everybody else could see, but I couldn't access, or I didn't understand. At the same time as feeling like a version of me I couldn't access, there were parts of me that even I didn't understand and I couldn't see, because I was a gay child growing up in the late 80s and 90s, but I didn't understand that in a way that made any sense. I only knew what I heard, and gay wasn't a word that was used. There was feminine boys, there was girly boys, there were boys who were weak, there were boys who some people laughed at, there were people who were different, and it was all something that you didn't want to be. Sometimes those expressions of other people didn't come as a statement. For me, one of the key moments that I remember is a rhyme that was passed around, and this was the rhyme: Andy Pandy Pudding and Pie kissed the girls and made them cry. When the boys came out to play, he kissed them too because he's funny that way. It was said like a joke, and it was repeated. It was passed around by family, siblings, friends, and became something that stuck. And my nickname actually became Andy Pandy. So I was directly associated with that rhyme. I kissed the girls and made them cry, and I kissed the boys too because I was funny that way. I didn't know what that meant. And it was something small enough for everybody around me to laugh at. But to me, it didn't feel small. Because even if you don't understand it, you feel what's behind it in the moment. You feel that something about you is being pointed at, even if no one says it directly. So you adjust. Not dramatically, not consciously, just enough. You stay within the version of yourself that works. The version that gets approval. The version that doesn't raise any questions. And anything outside of that, you keep to yourself. At home, emotions weren't really explored. In our house, things were practical. If you were upset, you were just told to stop crying or you'd be given something to cry about, unless it was a physical injury that could be fixed easily. So you learnt something very early on. Feel it, but don't show it. So for me, personal things stayed personal, especially mine, because unless there was something to gain from being seen, it did not feel worth it. And that shapes something. It's a belief that being seen has to be earned. So I learned to live in two places at once. Visible enough to belong, but hidden enough to feel safe. On the surface, everything looked normal, but underneath there were parts of me that I didn't understand, but I didn't feel safe enough to explore. And parts of me I didn't want anyone else to see. Even in connection, I didn't feel fully seen. I felt safe, like with my granddad, but not understood. And there's a difference. Because being seen isn't just about being accepted. It's about being recognised. And if you've never experienced that properly, you don't realise it's missing. You just carry on. Until one day you do start to question it. Was I ever fully seen? Or did I just learn how to be what was expected? Reflection. The way we are first seen can feel like truth when it isn't. Take a minute. Sit with it. What part of you, if any, did your family never really see? And are you still protecting that now? Food for thought. I sat with this for a long time and I now see the damage that did and feel an understanding and acceptance of why things were the way they were. It was a different time and different place. And now I don't live within that and see myself differently, as do other people, because I'm an openly gay man now. And my visibility is very clear. But I had to sit with that for quite a while and think about all the elements of it. So that's not something I sat with that interrupted my day one day. It's not an issue that was current. It's something that I sat with for a very long time, but didn't actually look into it any further until recently. So, yeah. Is there a part of you your family didn't really see? And are you still protecting it now? Just sit with that. Thank you for listening or reading and sitting with the reflections. If this resonated with you, you can explore more thoughts like this through the Sitting With It podcast. It's a space for honest conversation about identity, emotional well-being, ADHD, relationships, LGBTQ plus life, and the many ways we experience being human. You can follow me on social media, search at sittingwithitpodcast.com or visit at sittingwithitpod on Instagram and Facebook. And you can email me at sittingwithitpod@gmail.com. If this reflection just made you pause and think or see something a little bit differently, consider sharing it with someone who might need that moment too. So until next time and the next episode, take a moment, breathe, and sit with it.